Boards and booze and boards, drinks and beers, fight some hordes. Drank too much, forgot our swords, ran back home, filled our gourds, got drunk again, sang some chords. Boards and booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb.
Hey Mickey, what are we playing today?
One of my favorite themes, Jeb. Robin Hood. And yes, that's the Disney music. So hopefully we won't get in trouble for playing a tiny little clip and Disney's like, shut you down. Especially we're not even using. This is a different game, but the Disney Robin Hood is one of my favorites.
They're like, booze and boards, you're a thorn in our side.
And I like the Kevin Costner one, and I like the series that the BBC did, and and the Russell Crowe one's okay too. But anyways, I'm
he didn't mention his favorite.
We're
men.
No. Funny, but no. But yeah, Robin Hood's one of my favorite themes. So this was Kickstarter. Imagine that, because it seems like that's all we say is Kickstarter this, Kickstarter that.
Yep.
Worker placement game based around Robin Hood lore, whatever you want to call it. I guess the most important thing to say is that Jeb and I have already tested this thing out, and it is a bear. It is a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
And
for a worker placement,
yeah,
I was
and
like,
there's a lot of like things you can do, and like nuances in the rules. I wouldn't say it's necessarily that there's any like it's like super complicated. There's just so much that it kind of does make it complicated. Yep. I wouldn't say it's hard in the aspect of, because it's a worker placement, you place, you do stuff.
Yep.
The problem is there's just, I don't know if it's a problem, there's just so much, and then when you do something, there's a lot of options, things that you can do, and also the game kind of plays back at you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a worker placement where the game is fighting you.
Right.
Too.
So they're calling it a semi-co-op game because you are playing for victory points. But the unique thing, maybe there's something else that does it. The unique thing about it though is, in some of the other semi-cooperative games we play, it's kind of easy to like ignore what's going on and play for yourself.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind, even though it's not a worker placement, would be like DC deck building. When you play that, or Legendary or something like that, there is a winner at the end of the game, and you're all trying to beat the thing.
Guy, yeah.
But I would say that that's almost, I don't know, it's almost a little easier to just play the game and it's like whoever wins.
Right.
I mean, and whoever wins, so what? I don't think you can do that in this. If you don't pay, if everybody doesn't, and I mean everybody doesn't try to take care of the board state, you're going down.
Yeah, you're supposed to survive 5 rounds, and if you don't survive 5 rounds, everybody loses.
Yep.
So, and then once you survive the 5 rounds, then a winner is picked. So that's the gist of it.
Yep.
So yes, it's fully cooperative. Like
right.
I mean, like in the sense that you guys have to cooperate to finish the game, or else nobody's gonna win.
Right. So I guess for the things that we normally say a little bit earlier, I wanted to get that right in the first.
Yeah.
I really wanted to say that first because if it's something that you have been eyeballing, or if it's something that you own and you already read the rules and went, holy cow, kind of like we did, and we didn't even realize how much of a holy cow it was until we actually sat down to play it.
Yep.
And that hopefully we can help you get, this playthrough, and these instructions will help you a little bit than sitting right now. Anyways, it's by Final Frontier Games.
1 to 5 players.
1 to 5, and the creators are Ivana and
I don't know why you keep turning it to me.
Because sometimes you read Japanese. Maybe you can read Polish too. I don't know what those are. Or
No.
Russian. I don't know.
The only Martin Poole. That was the easiest one, unless it's
Ivana Vojakin Kretzveski,
I'll put the names up.
Pochveski, Maja Matoskova. Yeah,
I'll put the names up on the bottom so that at least there's some
We try.
credit shown.
We try. We want to give people credit. So
1 to 5. What was the thing? 14 and up, and then 25 minutes per player.
and it says semi-co-op, full co-op, and solo are your variants. I'm not exactly sure.
I think there's like some solo cards.
Yeah, there's other
that
things that you
mix
can
in.
pop in there. Change it up a little bit. We went with the semi-co-op play.
Yeah.
And you already said 14 and up.
Yep.
And how long does it say to play?
25 minutes a player, which is not going to happen your first
day.
day.
No way.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I think
not.
there were 4 of us, and it took about 2 hours at least, and we didn't win.
Well, and we played stuff wrong when we came back and
yeah.
and we thought we were playing it right too. We probably could have got it to go a little bit longer if we had been doing some of the stuff right. So we learned from some of those mistakes. So hopefully we will cover most everything. If we don't, and you've played this a couple of times and you found out something we missed, please put it in the comments because, like we said, there's a lot going on. And we hope we cover the majority of it. But like I said, even when we came back and reread the rules, there was like, oh, I didn't realize how this worked. Oh, I didn't. And there was some stuff that I remembered reading, and in the game I was like, I'm pretty sure you can do that. And on the fly, we just couldn't find it. And then Jeb was like, oh, you were right. And Jeb had the wrong rule book. He had the prototype, and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, so without further ado, I guess we will get to
the normal stuff.
So we're going to lay out the components first. Yep. We'll go through setup and mechanics, and then we will play a two-player game of it. I think it probably is a better game with more people, but we didn't really try to reach out to get anybody to play because one, it would just take extra time to teach somebody. Not that we don't mind teaching, but in order to get the video out,
we're kind of limited on time right now.
And so we figured that 2 players we're going to purposely go to some of the places so you can see things work, and that's the point. You just need to see all the interactions, not necessarily how it all meshes together, because once you have the mechanics, you can play the game. So that's the goal and of playing with the 2 people, is just to get, just hammer out as much as we can so you can see it. So in just a second, we'll be back with the components, and we'll go from there.
Alright, so we're back with the components for Robin Hood and the Merry Men, and as you can see, we've got the board in front of you.
Which is pretty gigantic, and if this is your first time seeing the board, as you can see, the game is pretty beautiful, but the board is big, you can't see the entire thing. I think most of what's cut off for you guys is down here at the edge. You're missing the scoring track, and possibly over here, which is a reputation track. On your left-hand side,
and then down in the bottom corner tracks the rounds.
There's some trackers. Obviously when we go over in mechanics and stuff, we'll have the board so you can see it a little bit more. But we'd rather have it closer so you can see the smaller components at the beginning. Plus, we wanted you to see how pretty the board actually is.
I was going to say, should we also point out the places? Because like in a normal worker placement, you're like, oh, these are all the places you can place your guys. But actually, over here on the side, there's a couple locations where you can place stuff.
That is true. There are some. If you're looking at this for the first time, you probably can point out right away that these are all places that you can put stuff. Also, places that you can put stuff is the archery thing, the castle. This is the jails, so your stuff can get thrown in here, and you can actually take actions there. And then, like Jeb said, up in this corner here, there are also some places you can go to do things. So there are a couple spots that kind of don't look typical of a worker placement game, and there's other spots that we haven't pointed out yet that are even in here that you can go to, because this is one section and this is actually a section 2.
Yeah,
each of these roads is a section, which you kind of remember from the little symbol there. So
just the key is
the key is there's a lot going on, and We're going to try to cover it all, but again, there's just a ton here.
Right. All right, so we can put the board away and start going to the other
All right,
stuff.
so now that you've seen the pretty board, we're going to fold this up and put it to the side, and then we're going to bring in components one at a time as Jeb lists them, and then if anything's left over from his list, we'll bring those in because we forgot something.
So let's start with what players are going to be getting.
All right, so players are going to get, let me put this so you guys can see it. All right, so you get a player board. Player boards are quite nice. The pretty good quality components, plus they're die cut, so the things that you place in here don't get knocked off the board as easily, which both of us love.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a marker that will go on your board to cover one of these spaces. Later more on that and setup and everything. And this is basically your cheat sheets, which are pretty nice, especially once you got for the feel of the game. There's a decent amount of information. I won't say all the information because there's, again, ton of information. But every player gets a player board, a cheat sheet, and one of these cover-up tokens.
All right. Players also get the meeples that are...
Actually, then let me keep this out here. So
Each player is going to pick a different color, so you're going to grab all the components of that color. So first you want to grab the meeples. So there's, green, yellow, red, blue, purple.
Yep.
So pick a color, grab the meeples.
These are your merry men.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there are the heroes that you can choose. You choose one hero that's associated with your hero card, which I will quickly show you. There's hero cards.
And we have expansion heroes too. But just so you know, the heroes are a color. I'm going to try to pull these. These are the villains that are in black and gray, right, Jeb?
Yes.
And I don't think there's any alternate.
Right. I think
colors
there's only the three of them.
So there you have that brown guy. Yeah, just take it out. All right. So there's your heroes. Really cool. These are not stickers on here. They are either silk screened or whatever process they call this stuff where it's actually like right on there.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there's a paint press or something. I don't know what they do. But the point is, this guy is Friar Tuck, I think.
And I guess when you pick your hero, you take the color associated, because the hero meeples actually have a color, right?
Yeah, right. But it doesn't matter with your board and everything.
Right.
So you have Jane Fortune, Little John, Maid Marian, Robin, and Will Scarlet. So those are, and then, like you said, there's 5, I think there's 5, is it 5, Jim?
Yeah, there's 5.
And then there's...
These are extras from the Kickstarter.
Those are extras from the Kickstarter, so if you don't see... Like, that's Robin, and then this is Roberta Hood.
Right.
So, she has a different card. Important to note that the character actually does make it different, because they actually do have all different hero abilities. So, if you have a favorite, that's cool, but if you have a strategy, you might want a certain hero.
Alright, so there's also the traps and barricades that are in the colors associated with whatever color the player chooses.
Yep. So you'll take all of the color of these. So this is a trap that looks like a barricade, which looks like a little fence, and then the traps look like a little bear trap. Okay, so you just take all those in the color. Here's like what the whole bag of them looks like.
And then there's the 50 and 100 counters for...
In case you go around the board, you can put that on your tracker underneath it so that you know you've already been around the score track once. If you go around twice, you can flip it over to the 100. Alright,
here are some Merry Men cards, which players will be using in the game.
Merry Men card, they have the flag on the back, and then they have the your actions, I guess is the best way to call it. These are the main use cards in the game for the players.
Right.
Okay, so those are pretty important.
And then these are the task cards.
These are the task cards. There is a location that you can go to that lets you join King Richard's Crusades. That's what this is. Basically, it's points
End-game scoring.
and end game scoring is what it is. If you even have time to go to that spot.
Right. And I think we should probably do the dice next because
Yep.
heroes use dice.
All right. Here are the dice in the game. All right. So you have two. So these black die are
Skill tests.
Those are like, yeah, skill test things. And then these white ones with different colors and weapons on them are your weapon dice, is what they're called. So you're going to be able to acquire these. And yes, the color is actually important. And no, the colors don't go with the characters.
Right.
They are specific to certain spots on the board, which you'll find out more about later. But that's it for those. So you got one with a bow, you got one with a sword, you got one with looks like a staff, and one with a battle axe. And then they all have shields on them too.
All right. Next up are the resources that you'll get throughout the game, and there are iron, wood, and tools. And
So,
there's also the silver penny. Is that what it was called?
silver pieces.
Silver pieces. Yeah.
I grab a whole handful and I get no ore. Unbelievable. Alright, so these are all upgraded components. These are supposedly cubes in the retail version. So the wood actually looks like pieces of wood. That's your, what are those, what's that called again, Joe?
Tool.
The tools. And I only grabbed one of them, but that gray piece is a piece of ore.
And then you can grab some of the
Right.
silver over there,
And then your silver pieces.
which are not.
Those aren't upgraded into anything.
Right. Next up are the loot tokens that heroes will encounter in the game. And
Loot tokens look like this. They have they have the little sack on the front. It's important to remember because they have
all different backs.
they have different backs that basically tell you what you get. They are
And there's also a loot bag that goes with these,
Right.
and you're going to put all of them in the loot bag.
yeah,
so-
and I'm just gonna do that now because we got so much on the table.
Right.
Loot bag, look,
Hey, it has...
shows you that it's the loot bag on it. So just, those are all going to get thrown in there. I know I'm skipping to setup, so to speak, but I just want them out of the way. So there's the loot bag. So I think the last of basically
The hero
that's
stuff.
hero related. So you get, oh, it's stuck together is what you get. So you get the little hat is for your reputation, I believe, right?
Yes.
Or one way or the other, and then the acorn is your scoring thing.
The victory points, yep.
Or, I don't really think it would matter if you did it
The other
a different way
As
around.
long as-
But my point is, one goes on one track and one goes on the other, and
Yep.
these are all stuck together.
And they're for each
grade.
each color.
So if you can separate this instead of the way they have it, because they gave you some extra bags. So if
Yeah.
you wanted to set up characters on how they usually set up during the game, that is. And these little bottles, if you're wondering, are called distraction tokens.
I call them wine.
Which is basically, oh, I chuck a bottle in the castle, it breaks, makes a noise. Oh, look, the guards went over there to see what I broke. Jeb, however, drank his.
I just imagine a guard walking and there's like a full bottle of wine that's airing out on the ground, and they're like, "Ooh, somebody poured some wine," and
No.
then they get distracted like that,
No.
and then they get drunk.
No. No, Jeb.
And then the last thing is the first player token.
Which is the white, it's probably supposed to be the king, which would be King Richard, so.
All
there you
right,
go.
so I think that covers all the hero-related stuff. And we're just going to move a little bit off, or make some room to the side for the bad guy-related stuff. So let's start with the guards.
So this is just a bag full of gray meeples that look like guards.
Yep.
And you learn to hate those. And these are carriages, which the carriages also have their own bag.
That you'll
Because-
put in and...
Because the roads to the castle are random also on how they populate.
Yep.
So those will end up going in there.
There are the bad guy cards, which I don't know the correct term for them. villain cards.
The villain cards, which, as an aside note real quick, we actually, the people that we sat down to learn the game with, we played this at PAX Unplugged. They had set it up, and again, Jeb and I had only read it through real quick. We used these for the bad guy cards.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
This is solo play. And ended up having a horrible time, and Jeb just glanced at them real quick, and he thinks that these are not quite as nasty. Why? Not exactly sure, because we haven't read the solo rules, but that gives me a little more optimism on maybe what we can do in the game.
Well, I'm thinking about it now. If it's like 4 players, 4 of those cards get drawn, and then this
because
is
it's only
equivalent
one.
to about 3 or 4
that
people.
explains a lot, because
Yeah.
when
we were using these. That's like,
that's like
3 or 4 times
quadruple
the-
what should have probably been coming out.
we were dying. It was awful.
If I think, did you give them our card?
I gave them our card.
Oh, if
so
they
hopefully
ever, if they ever
this,
see this, they'll probably laugh
They'll
if
laugh.
they ever figured out that we had done that wrong. So these are the correct to play in the semi co-op mode, which is
Right.
the only thing we're showing you right now.
and then
I got a collector's coin.
over there, you're forgetting.
You don't want to see my collector's coin, Jeff?
No.
Wow. Okay. All right, and so these are
The ransom tiles.
ransom tiles, so you can any guards that you capture or however you want to say it during the round. Well, actually, it doesn't have to be during the round, but at this phase you can trade in guards that you've acquired throughout the game.
Right.
It's not just round specific. That's why I was like, so there's a trade in. So like if I had 3 captured guards, I could trade it in for 12 victory points, or I could trade in 1 guard to release 1 prisoner. That's what the meeple in black is. This changes throughout the game.
Yeah.
Actually, every round throughout the game. So.
All right, and then that's everything for the main game. There are some components that I don't know if they're included in the retail version or if they're Kickstarter exclusive.
Yeah, I don't
Mickey
remember
will
any
know
of these, but
or-
I don't remember everything that's. I know we showed you already. These are the alternate heroes.
And these are the solo bad
Those are
villain
the solo
cards. This little thing, this tile,
Is for solo.
used for solo, and you place it on top of
Your regular board.
Right. And then I forgot what.
Those, and so this, I believe these are called thieves for the thieves module,
And then
then the Friar Tuck module or expansion or whatever you want to call it. So we won't be playing with either of these, but this is what they look like.
all right, and that's everything for components.
Yeah, so there's a lot of components.
We'll be back with setup. Okay, as you can see, we kind of flipped our camera view so you can see the entire board now, and we're going to go through how to set up the game. So the first thing you want to do is place the board on your table.
Easiest thing to remember in the game.
Yep.
Just
Next,
scare people away talking about it, but it is cool. So stick with us. Stick with us.
all right. So the first thing you're going to do is place the villains in the black tower. So Mickey has the 3 villain meeples.
They're the grayish and black colored meeples, and there's your tower over here.
All right. Next up, you are going to place a guard meeple in the 3rd and 4th hideout of each gathering site.
All right, so the gathering sites are those circles I pointed out earlier. Those are all the gathering sites. The hideouts are the squares right beside them, or the hiding spaces. So Jeb said the 3rd and 4th one.
Yep.
So
So that's counting from the top,
Top
down.
down,
So
right.
1, 2, 3, and then 4.
and then I have one over here.
I
1,
got
2,
one
3,
here.
and 4.
And then there's the city.
Put them upside down. And then this one. I need one more. And then those 2. Okay, so there you go.
All right. Next up, you're going to place the carriages in the bag. So
Which I did with all the carriages. I will remind you real quick. Carriages, there's more colors than that, but that's what the carriages look like. Hopefully you can see that.
yeah. And then you are going to draw and place 1 carriage at the start of each road.
FYI, each road has like a little design on it at the very beginning, and then like slots where you're going to be able to place barricades. So for instance, this has a wheelbarrow. Over there by Jeb is like a rocks.
This has a spike pit.
Those are actually fixed components. So this is considered a barricade. The rocks are a barricade. That stripe or that spiked pit is a barricade, and over here this tree is a barricade. Just wanted to know that that's not just for show in this instance.
Right. After you place those, you're just going to put the carriage bag to the side. You'll be using it throughout the game. Next up, you're going to place a stack of silver pennies on the designated space next to each road. And this is determined by how many players there are. So Mickey and I are going to do a 2-player game. So that's 6 pennies on each road.
Can you read the other ones just for so they know?
So 3 players is going to be 8 pennies. 4 players is 10 pennies. And 5 players is 12 pennies. Next up, you're going to place the weapon dice in the weapon storage, and that is based on player count. For 2 players, it's 2 of each weapon. 3 players, 3 of each weapon. So it's literally the number of players is the number of dice.
And remember, if you watched components, remember I told you there were each colored die was a different weapon. So that's what they're talking about. So there are 4 different colors, and in our case, so I'll go over the dice again real quick. It's a bow, it's a staff, it's an axe, and it's a sword. Swords are pink, axes are green, staffs are orange, and the bows are brown. So I have 2 of each of those colors in this spot. This spot gets really tight with multiple players because you're supposed to put all the dice in there.
Right.
If you stack them neatly, they fit okay. So these can actually, I'm going to down here because you won't see those anymore.
Right next, you are going to place a ransom tile face up in the black tower. So when we first were learning to play it, the guys had set it up where all the tiles were on the board. But I mean, I think the game wanted you to do is have a face down stack on the side and just flip one.
Which honestly doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The pile isn't huge, so
yeah,
you could go like that and just flip it up, which honestly kind of looks good.
Yeah,
on the board.
I enjoyed doing it when we
so
played it that
that's
way.
the way we're gonna do it. They did it a little different in terms of they had it like
all
this,
face up, yeah.
And it doesn't. As long as you don't know what's coming, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I kind of like seeing the guard there.
But you got to flip the top.
It's going to be flipped anyways. But then if it falls off or if you take it and want to look at it, you don't know what's coming.
Right.
So we're going to do that and flip it over. So there's the ransom for round 1.
All right. Next up, you are going to put 1 wood, 1 tool, 1 iron, 2 distractions, and 1 penny in the sheriff's stash.
All right.
So
Go
I'll read that again.
Yep.
1 wood.
1 wood.
1 tool.
1 tool.
1 iron.
1 iron.
2 distraction.
2 distraction.
And 1 penny. Silver penny.
And this over here with the big star. The star is the sheriff symbol in the game. And you'll see that a lot, unfortunately.
And then you are going to shuffle the villain cards.
The villain, again, has a little picture of it. What is that, like a jail or... No, inside the castle, whatever.
Yeah. And I think we're going to leave the cards up top so you can still see them. So.
Alright, so they're villain cards all shuffled up.
Alright, then shuffle the Merry Men cards and give 4 to each player. And then also you're going to shuffle the task cards and give 3 to each player. So I'll do that while Mickey's doing that.
Merry Men.
So 3 tests.
The cards in this game are very nice. They are linen, so I'm not worried too much about rifle shuffling these things because, or bridge shuffling, whatever you want to call it. They're sturdy, and I don't bend the crap out of my cards when I shuffle, just as an aside. So they are sturdy components.
And I gave each of us the 3 tasks. So
I will give each of us the...
Next, the skills dice are going to be placed near the board. All the resources are going to be in piles in a supply, and the loot tokens will go in the bag. So
all right.
It's all off screen, but we have all the tokens.
Resources, like that you saw us putting the sheriff, is all off board.
Yep.
The loot bag, which we showed you earlier, this has the loot tokens. It's all in this bag. Carriage tokens are off to the side.
We got soldiers off to the side as well.
Right.
So all that's to the side. Now we're going to start setting up the players. So the first thing, each player is going to take a player board. So Mickey's got a player board. He needs a player aid.
Which is this card. So I took this.
Then he is going to get 1 wood, 1 iron, 1 tool, 2 distraction, and a penny. So the exact same stuff.
Same as the sheriff.
And we'll set up my stuff later. So
I'm going to move this over here real quick so you guys can see. So you got a place for your stuff, your loot, whatever you want to call it, on your player board.
Alright, so next up you are going to choose a hero and get their card in Meeple.
I'm going with Robin Hood because he's the man. He got his meeple. Put him in his spot. And I will put my card off into my player area a little bit here.
Yep. And then you are going to take the following in that player's color. So his color, the meeple color is green, so Mickey's going to take the green things. The first is 6 merry men.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And you're going to put 3 of them in the hideouts on the player board and 3 in the training ground.
I'm doing training, I'm doing it backwards. There's training ground and then hideout. And again, here's where the die cuts in the cards really come in handy. Those fit right in nicely.
And then you are going to take one of the green tokens and cover the 4th hideout. So that means that you can't use it until whenever you get rid of it. Next you're going to take the 5 barricades and 5 traps and place them on your board. And like Mickey said, the die cuts help out here. Alright, then you are going to take 1 reputation marker and place it under the reputation track. So the reputation track has, what are they, like brown horizontal lines. So just show them what it looks like if you move it up or whatever. Like that's how the track works. So just place it at the very bottom. You don't actually start
on anything.
Right. Then you are going to take the score marker and place it on the 0 victory points of the track. And then you are going to choose a first player and give them the first player token. So I'll let Mickey be first player for this game.
Oh, thanks.
So first player token is over here. I guess you can just whatever.
Alright, I'm going to move my board back now that you saw me put that stuff in. Notice how nothing's falling because of the nice die cuts. I would have laughed if everything would have gone flying, but there you go.
And then Mickey also grabbed the 50-100 token.
Right, so in
in
case you've never seen one of these things before, if I got up all the way around the track, I'm at 50. I go over 50. I place the 50 there and put that on top of it just as a reminder that I already went around the track. I have never ever met anybody that forgot they went around the track once when it comes to scoring. Because everybody knows what their score is. Yep. But anyways, that's what it's for.
And then all the players will be set up and you'll be ready to start playing the game. So that's everything for setup.